Welcome to Captain Dick Smith Field here on the campus of Washington and Lee University for today's Old Dominion Athletic Conference baseball game between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and the Generals of Washington and Lee. A cloudy, overcast day here in southwestern Virginia as the two teams meet for the second and final time of the regular season. EMU took the first meeting against the Generals 13-10 back on March 20th. They're now looking to try and get their revenge here on their home field. Thanks for joining us on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Alongside Will Wallace, I'm Ryan Connell. And Will, these two teams, no stranger to each other. These have been high-scoring affairs when these teams have met the last few years. The last 7 meetings, the winning team has scored at least 10 runs in every game.
That's right, Ryan, and sometimes not always the cleanest defense, but the team had the field tarped today before the game. You mentioned the weather, cloudy skies, which not necessarily a bad thing with a 5 o'clock start. Usually the sun bearing down on the third baseman, shortstop, and left fielder. Not going to be an issue today.
So we will step aside for the national anthem when we return the starting lineups and the first pitch. Welcome back to Captain Dick Smith Field here on the campus of Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia. Time to meet the starting nines for today's game. We'll start with the visiting Royals of EMU. Leading things off and playing center field is Dylan Hall. Alex Golisano bats second and plays right. Nick Arnold, the third baseman, hits third. Ethan Spraker at shortstop. He's the cleanup hitter. Aidan Miller bats fifth and plays second. Matthew Harding, the catcher, bats sixth. Daniel McGinnis, the designated hitter, bats seventh. Eric Wilkinson plays first base and bats eighth, and rounding out the lineup in left field is Logan Mason. On the mound for EMU is Damon Tapscott. As for Washington and Lee, it is John Benner on the bump for the Generals, the junior right-hander from McLean, Virginia. A 2-2 record this season with a 6.83 ERA, making his 8th start of the season. His defense behind him, John Turner in left field, Mason Satterfield in center, Paul Ramsor in right field, Zach Senders at third base, Ethan Zuleta at shortstop, Jacob Jackson at second, and Drew Larson at first. Campbell Charnecko does the catching, and Jaden Keener, the designated hitter, as John Benner gets the ball for the second time in 5 days. He last pitched on Thursday against Shenandoah, got the win 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And it's back to the mound for Benner on a pretty much a averaged rest, 5-day rest here against another conference team, and a chance for the Generals to play their final game before a 10-day layoff.
Yeah, John Benner, a very competitive pitcher, not easily taken out of the game. It doesn't really matter if he's struggling or pitching well. He's going to compete as hard as he can. He does have 2 career appearances against Eastern Mennonite. Both came as a first year, their road and home appearances. 5 2/3 in the road game, only 3 2/3 in the home game that year. Did not face them last year or in the midweek meeting earlier this year.
The first pitch he throws to Dylan Hall is in there for a strike to get us underway here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Ryan Connell, Will Wallace with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Dubbing on the home white uniforms, blue numbers, and letters as Benner delivers the 0-1. A check swing has fouled up the first base line, and Benner is ahead 0-2 on Dylan Hall. All this season, he's gotten on base quite a bit. Hall has a team best on base percentage or second best on the team at .458. He's hitting just .293, but he's got hit by 19 pitches this season. He'll lay off a breaking ball well outside for the count to go 1-2, but leads the conference in hit by pitches by nearly double the next guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's something you necessarily want to lead a conference in, but he's getting on base. That's all you can ask for out of your leadoff guy.
1-2. Check swing on the breaking ball. Did he go around the appeal to first? No, says the first base umpire. And it's 2-2.
First couple of breaking balls from Benner looking really sharp. That last one right there, starting off middle of the plate. Good looking pitch. Broke off the plate and good enough to hold up on it.
So Benner out of the windup. 2-2. Fastball high and outside, and the count runs full. Control has been one of the things that has plagued Benner this season. He has walked 19 batters in 27 2/3 to just 21 strikeouts. It's 3-2, just off the plate and outside for ball 4, and it's a leadoff walk for EMU.
Yeah, it's a good-looking pitch there from Benner, and he actually gave a look back into the umpire, like, where'd that miss? And I'm kind of in agreement with him there. Looked like a really good pitch. His fastball's got a little tail back to the arm side, almost like a two-seam fastball. So really good pitch and unfortunate call there to lead off the game.
So leadoff walk to Hall. That'll spring in Golisano. Alex Golisano, a team best .419 average this year. He has 26 hits and 62 at-bats. That's good enough for top 10 in the conference. First pitch well outside as Charneco has to snare it. EMU as a team, good production from top to bottom, a .321 average as a team through 24 games this year. They're just 8-16. Their offense has definitely done its job. Here's a chopper to shortstop Zuleta. The quick turn to Jackson. His delivery onto first, not in time. So the Generals get the first out at second base here in the top of the first.
Royals almost take that trade off. Dylan Hall, 6 of 8 on stolen base attempts this year. Alex Golisano, just one better, 7 of 8. And the Royals as a team this year, 60 of 69 stealing bases. So definitely threats to run. And Campbell Charneco behind the plate is going to have his hands full. Same as John Benner, holding runners on, keeping them close.
One of the guys that likes to run is who steps to the plate. Nick Arnold, the third baseman for EMU, a team best 16 steals and 17 tries. First pitch breaking ball bounces, clicks off the glove of Charneco and all the way to the backstop as Golisano goes down to second. So that one just getting a little bit away from both Benner and Charneco as it makes its way all the way to the backstop. So now a runner in scoring position for Arnold, who has started every game this season. 33 hits in 91 at-bats for a .363 average. Also a team best 28 runs batted in. So a guy who you want up trying to drive in some runs as he takes a strike there to even the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Against Washington and Lee earlier this season, 2 for 5, scoring 3 times and driving in a run was Arnold. This one he shoots through the hole between second and first and into right field. Golisano gets the stop sign, but then Ramsor has trouble fielding it, gets the go-ahead, and scores the opening run of the day. So Ramsor unable to field that one cleanly out and right field as EMU pushes the first run across. Benner will look back over at Arnold, and he's in standing up. That'll set up Ethan Spraker, starting shortstop for the Royals. A team best 37 hits this year and a .378 average, 26 runs batted in. As a pickoff attempt to first, and Arnold is picked off first. So Benner does his job to hold a base runner. The top base stealer for EMU and Nick Arnold. So there's 2 gone. As first pitch in to Spraker is outside. 1-0, a bunt up the third base line, charging Senders. Throw across the body, not in time. Gets past Larson, but the runner will stop at first.
And how big is that pickoff right now, Ryan? You could have Nick Arnold standing on second right now, and these 2 guys, Arnold and Spraker, combined 28 stolen bases between them. Instead, you got only a runner on first and now 2 outs.
So a runner on first and 2 outs for the second baseman, Aiden Miller. Throw back over to first. And Spraker diving in. Opponents this season against W&L, 51 of 66 on stolen base tries. Almost a pitch out there on the first pitch to Miller, and not much movement from Spraker off first base. Benner again throwing over to the bag, and diving in is Spraker.
Campbell Charnecko this year behind home plate for the Generals has thrown out 14 of 39 base stealers.
This one's hit to Zuleta. He'll go the short route to second for the final out of the inning. Not before EMU scores a run, thanks to a couple of hits, an error, and they leave 1 man left on. We go to the bottom of the first. Royals in front of the Generals, 1-0. Bottom of the first inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field on the campus of Washington University in Lexington, Virginia. Generals coming to bat for the first time here today. Paul Ramsor leads things off. Jacob Jackson to follow, and Campbell Charnecko heads in the 3-hole for the Generals. Drew Larson in the cleanup spot. Ethan Zuleta bats 5th. John Turner 6th. Jaden Keener 7th. Mason Satterfield 8th. And Zach Senders 9th. Defensive positioning for EMU. Left to right across the outfield, it's Mason, Hall, and Golisano. Arnold at third base. Spraker at shortstop. Miller at second. Wilkinson at first. Harding does the catching. And on the mound for EMU is the first-year right-hander from Warrenton, Virginia, number 42, Damon Tapscott. So 1-3 this season. Started against the Generals the last time these two teams played, and he starts Paul Ramsor off with the first pitch strike. Ramsor pulls this into right field, and Golisano's got him played perfectly. So Jacob Jackson comes to bat for the Generals. Tapscott this season just 1-3 with a 6.54 ERA, making his 6th start of the season. And his last start against WNL back on March 20th, 7 strong, 10 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. It was his best start of the season. He started last Wednesday against Bridgewater. As Jackson hits this over to second, first pitch swinging. Miller flips it over to first, and there's quickly 2 outs on 3 pitches here for Damon Tapscott. But Tapscott started last week against Bridgewater in the midweek. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs. All were earned. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. He's gone at least 5 innings and 3 straight starts, so starting to find some form as the season has worn along. Campbell Charnecko steps in for the first time today, and he gets a breaking ball in the zone for strike 1.
We're going to talk about some hitting streaks coming up here, Ryan, but Charnecko 0 for 4 in Game 2 against Guilford, broke a 10-game hitting streak, and during those 10 games, multiple hit games.
Still hitting .370, good enough for second best on the Generals. He's behind 0-2. And Tapscott can't find the zone on that pitch. An interesting approach on the mound from Tapscott. You see a couple guys take that step off on the windup, but his is a very exaggerated step backwards before driving that leg high. Charnecko fights off the 1-2 to knock it out of play.
Not only backwards, but off to the side. It's almost his left foot is almost coming down the hill off to the side. It's very exaggerated.
So 1-2 the count to the Generals catcher. And Charnecko will hit the light post as it comes right back out onto the field. A foul ball that hits the metal light post nearly into fair territory. So he'll step back into the box, looking not let the Generals go down. 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the first. The 1-2 delivery outside. Tapscott's 2-2. Hit in the air, not very far. Miller, the second baseman, just on the outfield grass, makes the catch to end the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. The Generals go down in order in the bottom of the first. We did the second inning. EMU up 1-0. Top of the second inning between EMU and Washington and Lee. It'll be 6-7-8 due up for the Royals here in the top of the second. Harding, McGinnis, and Wilkinson against John Benner. Royals were able to score thanks to a couple of hits back in the top of the first. And the junior right-hander gets Matthew Harding swinging at the first pitch. Harding this season, limited sample size, but 18 hits and 50 at-bats for a .360 average. Split the catching duties, making now his 15th start of the season in game number 25 for EMU. Breaking ball off the plate and outside for Benner, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Not only that 360 batting average, but a 470 on base. So not only hitting, but he's also getting on base via the walk.
This one a slow roller towards shortstop, a charging Zuleta off the bottom of his glove. And Harding reaches safely here to start the second.
Always going to be a tough play for the shortstop charging in. Zuleta's going to have to make an off-balance throw there. So going with an error on that, and Harding's on base. 3 for 3 for Harding on stolen bases. So not so much of a threat, but has not been thrown out ceiling yet this year.
So McGinnis, the designated hitter, Daniel McGinnis, chops it to third, senders the throw to second for 1, the relay to first in time. A 5-4-3 double play negates the error from Zuleta, and there's 2 gone here in the top of the second.
Yeah, double play is pitcher's best friend, but right there, double play Ethan Zuleta's best friend. Get the double play first pitch to pick up the teammate.
So I'll bring in the first baseman, Eric Wilkinson. Lefty steps in against the righty Benner, and the first pitch outside for ball 1. Very right-handed dominant lineup for EMU. Similar to the Generals, just a few lefties mixed in, as this one catches the inside corner at the knees for strike 1. One laced out to left field and just shy of John Turner, where it will drop for a 2-out single. So Wilkinson picks up the third hit for the Royals on the day, and they have a base runner with 2 gone here in the top of the second. It's now down to the 9-hole hitter in Mason. Logan Mason starting today in left field. .299 average. And a first pitch fastball and a strike from Benner.
Mason 1 for 4 with a run scored in the Generals and Royals first meeting of the season.
Benner will look back over to first base and throw to check on Wilkinson, who's in sliding safely. CMU team has at times struggled with strikeouts at the plate, but so far today have done a good job of at least putting balls in play.
Not only putting balls in plays, but giving good looks to some of these breaking balls from Benner. That's a pretty tough take there that Mason just had. That's a breaking ball that maybe you expect to come down, and he just let it stay up.
This fastball runs up and in as it misses, so the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Larsing holding the runner at first. Jackson playing a little bit more up the middle. Leaving a hole on the right side. This one off the end of the bat in foul territory, and that's where it will stop.
Looked like a changeup there from Benner. Got Mason to hit it off the top of the bat. Good change of speed there from Benner, and now you set Mason up for just about anything in the arsenal.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Benner draws set, kicks and deals. This one shot foul down the third baseline, so they'll do it again. Benner looks in and the 2-2. Breaking ball for strike 3. He gets Mason down swing to end the second. No runs, 1 hit, an error, and 1 man left on. We into the home half of the second. Royals still in front, 1-0. Bottom of the second inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. The Generals send 4, 5, 6 to the plate after going down in order in the bottom of the first. Damon Tapscott, the first-year pitcher for the Royals, threw just 10 pitches in that opening frame, and only 7 of them came to Campbell Charnecko. He threw 3 pitches to get the first 2 outs, and then it had to work a little bit, and he starts Larson off with a ball that misses low and outside.
Larson 1 for 4 with 4 RBI in the early season meeting against the Royals.
This one shot past the diving effort of Miller at second base and into center field. Larson will take the turn and stop, and that'll be a single to lead off the top of this, or the bottom of the second for Drew Larson. So I'll bring up the General shortstop, Ethan Zuleta, who not many people have been swinging a better bat, especially for the Generals. That number 7 in white, riding a 19-game hitting streak, and has batted .473 during this 19-game hitting streak that started all the way back on February 27th. First pitch swing, rolls it over to shortstop. A slow roller that only played a second. The return throw is not going to be in time. So the Royals cut down the lead runner at second. So Zuleta will just take Larson's spot at first base.
Yeah, both Spraker and Miller looking like they were having some trouble getting the ball out of both of their gloves. So Zuleta, fortunately, will take it at first, and that brings up
number 5, John Turner, going to step in. So Turner watches a first pitch in there for strike 1. Turner, left fielder for the Generals, has found a way to kind of stay in the lineup for WNL. At the beginning of this season, left field was one of the spots that was more up for grabs in terms of guys that were going to find everyday playing time. And John Turner has put together a nice campaign here, hitting just a tick above 300 at 302. Tries to shoot this one the other way, but it will sail well foul.
Yeah, you lose an outfield class like the Generals did last year at graduation, and there's going to be a couple of spots open for competition, and that's kind of a fun thing early in the season. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking because you don't know who's going to be out there, but in terms of the players, it's fun because you get to go out there and compete for a starting job every day.
0-2, pulled to the left side. The shortstop Spraker slides across the body. Safe at first base is Turner. It's going to be a tough play for Spraker, and he made that a lot closer, I think, than a lot of people would have thought.
That's a great play from Ethan Spraker right there. No chance to get Zuleta at second base, and he knows that, so he knows his only play is to go to first, but Turner quick enough to get down the line, and like you said, Ryan, that play probably shouldn't have even been that close.
So Jaden Keener, the designated hitter, steps in for Washington and Lee. We'll look at one that he does not necessarily agree with on the outside corner.
I'm kind of with him there, Ryan. It looked like that pitch was in about the same spot as Benner's ball 4 to the leadoff batter in the game, so we'll see how the outside corner does the rest of the way.
This time, Keener tries to protect it outside corner and goes fishing for a breaking ball. Keener has mixed in as the Generals' DH at times this season, including last handful of games for the Generals, just finding ways to get on base, even if it's not with hits, just making an impact at the bottom half of this order. Especially in the game against Shenandoah last Thursday, it was Keener, Satterfield, Senders, just like it is now. 3 seniors in the bottom third of the Generals lineup. None of them really, they only combined for maybe 1 hit, but they just found different ways to get on base and turn it back over the top of the lineup. And Washington walked away with a 7-4 win over the number 7 team in the country. A couple of balls outside of the zone, so the count draws even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 gone here in the bottom of the second with 2 guys on for Jaden Keener. Mentioned it, Mason Satterfield and Zach Senders to follow him. Back pick to second, and Zuleta dives back in. So Tapscott, who threw just 10 pitches in the first inning, having to work a little bit more here in the second. 2-2. Hit out to center field. Hall, a few steps back, makes the catch. Zuleta going to tag and try for third. The relay throw, not in time.
Real smart base running there from Zuleta. Notices that the fly ball is either going to get down beyond the center fielder's reach, or it's going to get caught, so he goes back to second base, tags up. Again, a close play at third base, but really smart base running there to move up 90 feet and ensure that he gets in if Satterfield's able to single here.
So that brings up Mason Satterfield, starting in center field for Washington and Lee. Satterfield having a slow start to the year at the plate in terms of hits, but it's put more of them together lately. This one out to right center. Hall on the run, lays out and makes a diving grab. Nice play there from Dylan Hall in center field. Ends the threat for the Generals in the second. Couple of hits for Washington and Lee. No runs, no errors, and they leave 2 men left on. We head to the third inning. EMU up 1-0. Top of the third inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Alongside Will Walsh, I'm Ryan Collin, the Washington Lee Sports Network. EMU with the slim 1-0 lead here over Washington and Lee. This is back to the top of the lineup for the Royals. And it's back to Dylan Hall, who registered the final out of the bottom of the second with a diving grab out in right center field. And after drawing a walk in his first at-bat, sees a strike from Benner here to start his second at-bat.
Some great defense from the Royals in that last half inning. A couple of dazzling plays.
This breaking ball too much off the plate. So Benner, who threw 15 pitches in the first inning, 14 last inning, so 29 through the first 2 innings for the junior. This one a jam shot over to second. Jackson gets the slow roller and makes the throw to first for the first out.
A good breaking ball there from Benner, and actually as I was watching the ball flight to home plate, it kind of looked like a fastball. It looked like he was going to get hit by pitch number 20 of the year right there.
Hall able just to get a check swing on that and shoot it over to second base. For Alex Golisano here for EMU. We'll also see a breaking ball with the first pitch that he lays off. Reached on a fielder's choice, came around to score the lone run of today's game back in the first. 1-0, chopper to Senders at third. The high hop, the throw across the diamond, and out, says the first base umpire. That play just gets exceedingly more difficult because it's such a high hop. You have to wait for it to come to you. You can't really charge it because of how high it was in the air, and Senders really had to put a lot behind that throw to get a speedy Golisano.
Well, and you could tell early he was going to rely on his arm strength because he made sure he took an extra half second to make sure he had a good grip on the ball and a runner like that, you need to make sure you make the play quickly, and Senders did a really nice job there.
Nick Arnold steps in. First pitch he sees in for a strike, singled, and then was picked off first base his last time up in the first. This one just a bit low. 1-1. Back in the zone for strike two.
It's a really good combination of pitches right there. He pitched before, it's a changeup down in the dirt, but it starts knee high. That last fastball right there, completely freezing the hitter. Really good pitch sequence there by Benner.
1-2 fastball. Just a tad high and outside. So Benner trying to retire the Royals in order here in the third. The 2-2. Off the plate away as the count runs full.
There's that changeup again from Benner. Maybe trying to set up this 3-2 pitch.
Comes back with the fastball, hit in the air. Showell center field. Jackson, the second baseman, calls everyone out to make the final out of the inning. It's a 1-2-3 third inning for John Benner. His team comes to bat in the home half of the inning, still trailing 1-0. Bottom of the third inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. EMU up 1-0 on Washington Lee, as WNL will send 9-1-2 to the plate here in the bottom of the third. Zach Senders for the first time today, followed by Paul Ramsor and Jacob Jackson. Damon Tapscott for EMU. Just 22 pitches through the first two innings, 10 in the first, 12 in the second. Got helped out by some good defensive work in the field by the Royals. First pitch swinging as Senders are charging. Arnold at third will make the play for the first out of the inning.
Another really nice play there from the Royals defense. We know Senders can move down the line a little bit, and that play probably only gets made if Arnold gets to it, because his momentum's taking him towards first base, whereas Spraker's kind of coming towards home plate. So really good play there from Arnold.
Back to the top of the lineup in Paul Ramsor. He flew out to right field in his first at-bat. He sees a breaking ball in the zone for strike one. Same pitch, different result as this one misses low. Ramsor will fight back. 1-1. Tapscott, very similar to Benner, is a guy that does not waste much time. Once he gets the ball, he is ready to fire to the plate. Even with his very deliberate delivery. Catcher Harding thought that was strike three on the inside corner. Getting ready to throw it down to the hot corner, go around the horn, but it was inside, said the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I think I'm with him, and that's that side of the plate that's been a little inconsistent so far today.
This breaking ball on 2-2 remains high, so Ramsell are able to work a full count. Infield shaded a little over to the right side. Spraker, the shortstop, playing almost behind the bag at second. 3-2 hit out to right center field. Hall with a good beat on this one, and he makes the catch for the second out. So Jacob Jackson comes to bat for the Generals, grounded out to second base. His first trip to the plate here today. He's hitting now .330 on the season, 33 hits, and just over 100 at-bats. So second on the team with 13 extra base hits, including 10 doubles this year. He's definitely turned it on lately as Jackson will look at a strike.
We only saw 3 pitches total. The first 2 batters in the lineup first time through. Didn't really get a chance to look more into the numbers. Jacob Jackson hitting 7 of 13 over the last 3 games with that .330 average for the season.
This one popped into foul territory in front of the Generals. Dug out a long run for the first baseman and Wilkinson, and it just can't get there before the on-deck circle. And yeah, you mentioned, Will, those great numbers of 7 for 14 or
7 to 13 in the last 3 games.
In the last 3 games. He had the 0 for 7 against Roanoke in game 2 of the doubleheader that won 14 innings, but did have 5 hits in the first game. So really, since the calendar has started to turn here to April from March 30th on, Jacob Jackson has really started to find his form again at the plate. Over the last 5 games, he's behind 0-2 as this one goes all the way to the backstop.
Yeah, 4 3-hit games. The first one being in the early season meeting against the Royals. So Jackson, as you said, outside of that 0 for 7, really seeing the ball well.
The 1-2. On the outside corner, strike 3 called. Tapscott picks up his first strikeout as he has another 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on. We head to the 4th. EMU 1, Washington and Lee nothing.
Now batting, number 11, Ethan Spraker.
Top of the 4th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. EMU 1, Washington and Lee nothing. Ryan Connell and Will Wallace with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. 4-5-6 due up for the Royals here against John Benner in the 4th. Ethan Spraker will watch the first pitch miss outside. Spraker, Miller, and Harding. Spraker with a single in his last at-bat, part of the first inning in which the Royals played the lone run in this game. Outside of that, the pitchers have found a decent rhythm on the mound. Benner has seen a constant improvement with his number of pitches, going from 15 in the first, 14 in the second, just 11 pitches in the third. But he's behind quickly 3-0 here to Spraker to start the 4th.
Both pitchers pitching to contact as well. Both just have 1 strikeout through the first 3 innings. Generals have those 2 errors. The Royals defense really picking up the slack on their end.
Rio, get me over fastball in there for a strike. Spraker down the right field line. Well foul, so the count runs full to the Royals cleanup hitter. 3-2, and he fouls it off the shin.
Another changeup there from Benner. Not a bad spot. Ball starting out high, and that's where the swing path goes and gets that foul ball straight down.
So Spraker, after a few seconds to regroup, steps back into the box. Benner looking for an out here to start the fourth, and he gets Spraker swinging for his second strikeout of the day.
Again, that changeup can really, really be valuable for Benner there. Spraker a little late on the fastball. Probably had changed up his timing a little bit with the previous pitch being a changeup. So Benner, really good job of elevating the fastball there.
Aiden Miller now steps to the plate. He ended the first inning with a ground out to shortstop. And he'll get started with a strike in his second trip to the plate. Going back to that changeup is Benner, but this time low. Just 3 hits for the Royals to score 1 run. Washington Lee, a couple of hits, but nothing to show for it in terms of runs. A roller to Senders, charging, regroups, and his throw gets away past Larson and towards the Generals' bullpen as Miller will go to second base standing up. So an error on Senders. Will be the third Washington Lee error of the day. As Matthew Harding comes to bat. Harding reached on an error his last trip to the plate to start things off in the second. So Benner trying to work with a runner in scoring position. Out of the stretch, delivers a strike. An interesting thing about today's game, Washington and Lee, after today, doesn't play for 11 days until the 20th of April, thanks to their layoff for finals. So just about everyone in the Generals' pen should be around and available today if we're needed. But for Benner, he's really had some good stuff here through the first 3+ innings. The defense has let him down a couple of times. He's only surrendered 3 hits. He's up 0-2 on Harding. And Harding just has to fight off a breaking ball he was well late to. Benner will check on the runner and Miller at second. Draw set and deal. Softly hit ball out to left center field. Satterfield ranging over makes the catch. Miller thought about tagging and elects to stay at second. So now there's 2 gone and still a runner in scoring position for Daniel McGinnis. McGinnis hit into a 5-4-3 double play back in the second inning.
Miller got a very, very big secondary lead ahead of that last pitch, so Benner maybe wants to work in an inside move here, keep him close.
Again, dancing his way off second is Miller, and Benner delivers home with ball 1 to McGinnis. Oh, misses. So it's 2 balls and no strikes. For Benner, obviously pitched last Thursday against Shenandoah. 5 days in between starts here. 5 1/3 in his last outing, but his 2 most previous outings before that, he did not have his best stuff. Lasted just 2 innings against Randolph-Macon and did not even make it out of the first inning against Lynchburg. So far today, he's given up the 1 run, scattered a couple of hits throughout. 2-1 the count to McGinnis. Fastball in there for strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Miller will force Benner to step off.
That almost looked like a timing play there to me. Ryan Miller looked like he was fully intent on going, realized that Benner hadn't gone yet, so he stopped. And Benner, luckily enough, stepped off and chased him back.
2-2 breaking ball, called for strike 3. No runs, no hits, an error, and 1 man left. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Washington lead, trying to find a run. They trail EMU 1-0. Bottom of the 4th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. It is EMU 1, Washington lead 0. Middle of the Generals lineup, 3-4-5. Campbell Charnecko, Drew Larson, and Ethan Zuleta. 2 up here against Damon Tapscott. First pitch in there for a strike. Tapscott has been rather effective of getting ahead in counts as well. He's just made quick work of the Generals so far. Charnecko hits this out to Hall in center field. Camp under it for out number 1. And now through 3 1/3, just 35 total pitches for Damon Tapscott. 10 in the first, 12 in the second, 11 in the third, and just 2 here to start the 4th. Not really been pushed to many deep counts either. Larson, slow chopper into no man's land. A charging Miller, the glove flip for the out. Excellent defensive work for Miller. No, he didn't have time to get that out of the glove, just gave it the toss with the glove and in time to get Larson.
Yet another great play by the EMU defense. Only way Miller gets that out is if he does a little glove flip there, and not always the easiest play, especially if you're in a bit of a rush.
And it also just seemed like it was in no man's land because the pitcher was a little late coming off the mound. He stopped. The first baseman, Wilkinson, was in between whether he should go cover the bag or get the ball, and the second baseman, Miller, had to make a long run to charge that. But since he never stopped moving, he at least had the wherewithal to stick with it.
That's where communication on the defense comes into play as well. So good job talking. We can't really hear that from up here, but that's a play that takes a lot of communication on the defense.
Ethan Zuleta, the batter. It's 1-1 the count to him. Chops this right back to the pitcher, Tapscott. He'll run and underhand it to first, as that is another 1-2-3 inning for Tapscott. 3 of the 4 innings he's thrown, and he set the Generals down in order. We head to the 5th inning. Still 1-0 our score between EMU and Washington and Lee. Top of the fifth inning between EMU and Washington and Lee. Thanks for joining us on the Washington Lee Sports Network alongside Will Wallace. I'm Ryan Collin. You can also catch today's game on 12-Ounce Sports, grassroots sports with dedicated authors, show hosts, live sports across North America at 12ouncesports.com. First pitch to Wilkinson is fouled off. It's 8-9-1 due up for EMU here in the top of the fifth against John Benner. Benner is forced into labor a little bit more in the fourth inning, throwing the most pitches he's thrown in an inning with 19, but it's relatively stayed in control, just giving up 3 hits and a run so far, but has not gotten much out of his offense, just 2 hits for the Generals, and they've committed 3 errors in the field behind him. That one finds the zone, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Be interesting to see what the strategy is here from head coach Ted White and the pitchers with this long layoff ahead. You want to make sure you get guys some work, but you also don't want to disrupt Benner in the middle of a good outing.
This one rolled into right field by Wilkinson, and the leadoff man is on here in the fifth.
Now batting, number 5, Logan.
We had Brody Pasica warming up down in the W&L bullpen during the last inning, so you wonder if that's a potential move in the making for the Generals, or if Pasica's down there just to make sure he gets some work in and throw some pitches.
So Logan Mason steps to the plate. We'll see what EMU elects to do with nobody out and a runner on first. Mason shows bunt, pulls it back, but it's a strike anyways. Sanders, the third baseman, playing a few steps in on the grass. Larson holding the runner at first. Benner will throw over. Not much of a lead for Wilkinson, knowing that Mason's turning the square. Sure, you want to be able to get a good read to make sure you advance to second, but also know that somebody else is going to be keeping a watchful eye on you. Mason turns to square this time. He pulls it back, and it's high.
Mason does lead EMU this year with 6 sacrifice bunts. So the Royals have their guy up to do it.
And then he turns it over to the top of the lineup to follow. 1-1. This one chooses to swing, and it's now 1-2 as he fouls it back. So now with 2 strikes, Mason perhaps a little bit more reluctant. Try and lay down a bunt here, even with nobody out. 1-2, thought about going, and he held up. And they're going to look over his options and draw a set on the mound. The 2-2. Fought back. This is just still the second time through the lineup for the Royals. All leadoff hitter waits on deck. 2-2, not very far out to right field. Ramsor positioning over to make the catch for the first out.
Now batting, number 19, Dylan Hall.
So back to the top of the lineup in Dylan Hall. 1 gone and a runner on first in the top of the fifth in a 1-0 game. All the walk and a ground out. A few nice plays in center field to go with it as well. First pitch fastball well outside. Obviously, EMU has some offensive firepower. This has helped them win games this year. They've scored 10 runs in 9 different games this season. They've scored at least 7 runs in 16 of the 24 games they've played this year. The thing that has let them down at times has been their pitching. As Hall shoots this Foul down the right field line. A nice catch in the bullpen out there by Brody Pasica, starting to warm up. But for EMU, it's a team ERA north of 9 entering the day. They've conceded at least 5 runs in 18 straight games. 1-1 as well outside. You have to go back all the way to February 29th. They played Vermont State University, Linden, which used to be Linden State. It was the last time they held an opponent under 5 runs. They've been outscored in this 18-game stretch, 205 to 133. Runner goes. This one, a foul ball, and will sail out of the stadium. And in that 18-game stretch, they're just 5-13. It's not been for the lack of runs they've been able to produce so far. Zeros across the scoreboard for Washington and Lee over the first 4 innings. Royals, after a run across in the top of the first, have been held in check as well. 2-2 the count to Dylan Hall. The runner on first and 1 gone in the 5th. Payoff pitch. Hit to Zuleta. Go the short route to second, and that's the only play. Still gets the lead runner and gets the second out of the inning.
I wasn't so sure Zuleta was going to be able to get the lead runner there with how slowly that ball was hit. So good job of him recognizing that he had the time and gave Jacob Jackson a very accurate throw at second base. Good job getting the lead runner.
I'll bring in Alex Golisano. Still searching for his first hit of the day. Entered hitting .419 on the campaign. One of the 17 guys in the conference still hitting over 400 in the second week of April.
Yeah, early in the season, you're going to see a lot of 400s and sometimes even 500s, but being able to hit 400 this late in the season through 62 at-bats entering the day, that's pretty impressive.
Because, I mean, that's the thing. You look at Zuleta, who's been tearing it up at the plate for the Generals, hitting above 380. He's still barely in the top 20 in the conference in batting average, and you're hitting 380 something like that. That's the part that is crazy when you look at some of the numbers. But the ODAC has been a very strong offensive conference this season. We've seen a lot of high-scoring games across the conference, and EMU has certainly got themselves tangled in some of those as well. Another pick over to first, and Hall is in safely.
Golisano, very, very consistent this year. 18 games played this year, only 2 games where he's not registered a hit.
0-1 off the fist, barely over the fence and out of play.
So there's not like a 5 for 5 or 4 for 5 day that's keeping him up. He's consistently getting a hit and getting on base for the Royals.
Golisano finds himself down 0-2. Benner tries to bear down here and get the final out at the top of the 5th. Slider gets away. Benner looking in for the 1-2. Throws back, and Hall was leaning the other way, but just getting back in safely.
Yeah, Hall doing some more dancing over there at first base, and Benner almost caught him mid-shuffle step. Hall able to get his feet back on the ground and slide back in.
1-2. This one well outside as well as the count draws even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Benner being forced to work a little bit more here in the 5th. Upwards of 75 pitches. The 2-2. Line to shortstop. Zuleta will range back and make the catch for the final out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We head to the home half of the 5th. Royals still in front of the Generals, 1-0 on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Bottom of the 5th inning, Washington Lee sending John Turner, Jaden Keener, and Mason Satterfield to the plate. 6, 7, 8 against Damon Tapscott, the first-year right-hander, through 4 innings, giving up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, a strikeout. He's thrown just 39 pitches, including just 6 pitches last inning against the heart of the Generals lineup in Charneco, Larson, and Zuleta. As Turner takes the first pitch low. The most pitches he's thrown in an inning was 12 back in the second, so it has been a rather effective start. Behind 2-0 here to John Turner, who has one of the Generals' 2 hits on the day. It was a single back in the second. That's where Larson also picked up the other Generals' hit to lead off the inning. And now Turner's up 3-0.
Yeah, Tapscott's efficiency, probably the most eye-popping part of his start today. Only scoreless start this year came in his first appearance at Mary Baldwin. 4 2/3, no runs, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. So for a guy with an ERA for the season coming into today at about 6.5 and having allowed 14 earned runs over the last 3 starts, this is a great start for the Royals.
3-1, skied in the infield, right side. The first baseman Wilkinson staying on the dirt for the first out. So Jaden Keener will come to bat for Washington Lee. Flew out to center field back in the second. And even when Washington Lee has gotten ahead in the count like they have there, you're up 3-0, you make pitcher come back, you just don't get the best swing on a ball over the plate, and it's a pop fly that doesn't leave the infield.
Right, and we saw a longer in-between innings meeting just outside the WNL dugout led by WNL assistant coach Brandon Cohen, who was charged with the hitting coach responsibilities.
Great pick at first by Wilkinson as he turned his head away, found the ball in his mitt, and taps on first for the second out.
And you just wonder if Coach Cohen's just trying to make sure the guys know, like, hey, let's try to work some counts here. This guy's given EMU some length over the last few starts, but the longer you make this guy pitch, the more tired he's going to get. You're going to get better pitches to hit if you can work the count a little bit better.
So Mason Satterfield into the box. First pitch gets away, this time from Tapscott. Satterfield was victim to a diving catch from Dylan Hall to end the second inning, which could have been a run-scoring single, perhaps, for the Generals. Zuleta was on third base, and it looked like a ball that could get down in the gap. But Hall had a great beat on it and made the catch to end the inning.
Generals also with a runner on first in that situation, so could have maybe been a single, move first to third there, or even a double.
2-0 bounces, deflects up, and catches the top of the screen for ball 3. So now Satterfield ahead 3-0 after Turner was up in the count. First time that Billy Dominello has gotten ahead, and it's a 4-pitch walk. So Satterfield saves 4 straight balls as Zach Senders comes up for Washington and Lee. Grounded out to third base. Back in the third inning. Senders had a really good game 1 of the doubleheader against Guilford on Saturday. Going 3 for 4 and driving in 3 runs as Satterfield is picked off first base to end the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. We head to the 6th inning, and EMU is in front 1-0. Top of the 6th inning at Captain Dick Smith Field. EMU 1, Washington and Lee 0. 3, 4, 5. Nick Arnold, Ethan Spraker, and Aiden Miller due up for the Royals here in the top of the 6th. Ryan Connell and Will Wallace with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. John Benner out for his 6th inning of work through 5 innings, 4 hits, a run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. First pitch swinging is Arnold out to center field. Satterfield ranges over for the first out. So Benner, who's starting to find a little bit of a rhythm on the mound, he's only given up 1 hit in the last 3+ innings. That came back in the 5th. It was a leadoff single. Other than that, the last hit he gave up was with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. This one nearly comes in and hits Spraker, who has to lean out of the way. Spraker hit a single in his first at-bat and then struck out swinging back in the 4th. This one hit to Zuleta, charging across the body throw, and Larson can't field it as it pops out of his glove.
Yeah, Ryan, I actually hadn't even realized that Benner hadn't given up a hit in the last 3 1/3, and that one going down as an error on Zuleta at shortstop. That last inning, he's thrown a lot of pitches, but it comes back to that competitiveness that I mentioned back in the 1st inning. John Benner's so competitive, and he can stay so composed that even during a tough inning like that where he's thrown a lot of pitches, he can still make his pitches and get guys out.
First pitch to Aiden Miller is a swinging strike. Some double barrel action down in the Washington Lee bullpen. It's the righty Brody Pasica and the lefty Ben Sundell, the reigning ODAC pitcher of the week. Recorded 2 saves last week for the Generals. Big lead off of first there for Spraker as Benner will take a look. That error on Zuleta, the 4th Generals error of the day. They've committed as many errors as EMU has hits so far. Although the Royals have just the 1 run, has at least allowed them to have a lot more base runners. Dominell's been limited to just 2 hits, and the Royals have not committed an error. So just 2 hits and a walk is all Dominell has had in terms of base running. Another throw over, and Larson has to dive after it. So Aiden Miller, who reached on an error his last trip to the plate. Also with the ground out. A 1 runner goes. This one shot into shallow left field. Going first to third is Spraker, and the throw from Turner is high as it goes wide. Charnecko has to come off the plate to get it at the backstop. Spraker will score, and Miller makes it all the way to third base. And take another look. Just drops Gazuleta playing a little bit more double play depth. That throw from Turner just sails all the way around. It pinballs around the backstop, and Charnecko has to come off the plate and allow Spraker to get across as EMU makes this a 2-0 game, and Ted White will make his way to the mound for the Royals. So a single that brings in a run, but also the Generals' 5th error of the day. EMU able to scratch their 2nd run across.
Sundell still warming up down in the bullpen. Pasica taking a look onto the field. So it looks like if head coach Ted White's going to make a pitching change, it might be Pasica before Sundell. He has been warming up each of the last 2 defensive innings for the Generals.
It's a relatively lengthy conversation between Coach White and his junior right-handed hurler. The home plate umpire will start to make the trek out and break things up. Keep the process moving along, either a pitching change or a thing, and we will get a tap for what appears to be the lefty, and that is Ben Sundell out of the Generals bullpen. We'll have more about the sophomore left-hander when we return here on.
A pre-professional program is really valuable to a liberal arts curriculum. It adds the breadth of what students can actually learn and can actually take in terms of classes. It's really, really common that students merge different fields. All my advisees are majoring in accounting, but I'm going to say about 80% of my advisees are double majoring or minoring in something else. Majoring in computer science along with accounting, minoring in poverty studies.
Business administration and theater, even though they're very different, I want to work very much in the intersection of the two. I want to work in the business side of theater. There are still people who are running the numbers on finances when theater shows go up and who are doing the marketing.
I'm on the pre-health track here, going to be applying to med school in a couple of years. My poverty studies minor has been very impactful. I've been able to take lots of different classes to help me learn about, people that I might be serving in the future.
I came in thinking I wanted to do business and ended up double majoring in economics and environmental economics after having a bunch of different experiences throughout those different courses.
Business journalism is a combination of the core journalism program where we teach people how to become reporters and editors and producers. I think a journalism program dovetails nicely with the broad liberal arts curriculum.
For example, I have a lot of students that are interested in environmental journalism. And so I get students from the journalism program coming to environmental classes to learn more about that so that they can take that forward in their careers.
There's just so many opportunities on campus that directly translate to receiving opportunities off campus.
We are preparing people to go to work immediately. Our graduates do very well in the workplace.
Top of the 6th inning, and with 1 out and a runner on third in a 2-0 game, Ted White goes to his bullpen and goes for the lefty. Ben Sundell, the reigning ODAC pitcher of the week, making now his 12th appearance of the season. He's got a 1.11 ERA in 24 and a third innings pitched. He pitched a lot last week in a couple of wins. He picked up a pair of saves as the first pitch to Harding is fouled off. He got an 11-out save against Shenandoah last Thursday, followed up with a 9-out save in the game 1 of the doubleheader against Guilford. Didn't give up a run in either of those games. Didn't give up a hit against Guilford. Has gone his last 3 outings without conceding a run.
Yeah, Ben Sundell, normally we see the team bringing a lefty to face a lefty or a righty to face a righty. Ben Sundell this year actually better against right-handed hitting. 234 average for right-handers against Sundell this year, and he'll get at least 2 in a row here.
The infield brought in. It's a single for Harding into the gap. That brings in the third Royals run of the day. And EMU able to convert with a runner on third and less than 2 outs.
Now batting, number 36, Daniel McGinnis.
So Daniel McGinnis will step in. That closes the book on John Benner. 5 1/3 innings for the general starter. 5 hits, 3 runs, only 1 earned. A walk and 3 strikeouts on 84 pitches. As Sundell misses low for a ball. Things that plagued General was this, or plagued Benner was the General's defense behind him. 5 errors on his time on the mound. This one a roller into between the hole. Jackson tries to slide after it, can't knock it down. As EMU able to string together 3 straight singles.
Now batting, number 7, Eric Wilkinson.
So following the error that got Spraker aboard, singles from Miller, Harding, and McGinnis. Miller and Harding's each bringing in a run have made this a 3-0 game. So Wilkinson, the lefty, will match up against the left-hander Sundell. And Sundell pumps in a first pitch strike. The 0-1, nearly the same spot for strike 2. Harding on second, McGinnis on first. 1 gone here in the top of the 6th. The Royals already 2 runs across in this inning. The 0-2. Chopped into no man's land and into left field. They're going to test Turner's arm. His throw to the plate, not in time. 4 straight singles for the Royals, and they have 3 runs here in the 6th. The lead at 4-0.
And this isn't to discredit the Royals hitting. Sometimes baseball is more about where you hit it than how hard you hit it. But 3 of these singles not hit very hard and put just out of the reach of WNL defenders. So the Royals, you don't want to say they're getting a little lucky, but they're putting these balls right where they need to in order to make the WNL defense sweat.
And just like that, that'll be all for Ben Sundell. Faces 3 batters, gives up 3 hits, including a run. Brody Pasico will enter, still with just 1 out here on the top of the 6th. EMU is just New pitcher for the Generals in the top of the sixth. It's Brody Pasica, the sophomore right-hander from Cream Ridge, New Jersey. A 3.05 ERA, and now his 10th appearance of the season through 20 2/3. He's also picked up a team-best 3 saves for the Generals. He enters here with runners on first and second and less than 2 outs, with his team trailing 4-0. Royals have able to push 3 runs across already here in the sixth, as this is the third different pitcher the Generals have used. 7th batter to bat in the inning is Mason, the left fielder, and he gets the first pitch ball from Pasica. Keeping the carousel moving for EMU. 4 straight singles have really kept things going after an error with 1 out. And Pasica misses low for ball 2.
And unlike when Sundell came into the game, Pasica now with no one else in the bullpen. So head coach Ted White giving Pasica the go-ahead to finish out this inning.
2-0, fouled back and out of play. I mean, obviously, we talked about it before about how WNL's got a layoff before their next game of 11 days. We're seeing a lot of guys that are been predominantly used on the weekend as bullpen guys getting thrown in today in the last game for the Generals in 11 days. This one hit in the left center field gap. It'll fall before the wall. One run's going to get waved around third. The other is going to be held up, but he's going to go anyways. The throw up the line is not in time. It's a 2-run double. Logan Mason blows it open here with a 2-run double in the sixth, and EMU has put 5 runs across in this inning.
I don't know how visible it was on the stream, but Eric Wilkinson did get the stop sign from the EMU third base coach, and it wasn't so much him running through the stop sign. He just didn't see it. He was running so hard, he had his head down, and by the time he saw it, he was already halfway down the third baseline.
And he didn't even hesitate to stop at that point. He just kept on chugging as the first pitch to Hall is fouled out of play. And with the throw being up the line as well, it was not going to be much of a play at the plate. The 0-1 hit in the air in foul territory. Will it stay in? It will not, as it comes just shy of the bleachers.
Some more movement now in the WNL bullpen. Jimmy Horvath taking off the jacket and starting to get warm.
So Pasica up 0-2 against Hall. As Dylan Hall is the 8th man to bat in this inning for EMU. A lay off a breaking ball. This inning started with a fly out to center field by Arnold. Spraker reached on an error, and then the floodgates opened for the Royals. 4 straight singles from Miller, Harding, McGinnis, and Wilkinson, and that 2-run double from Mason have helped EMU put 5 across here in the 6th. Breaking ball comes in and hits Hall, and that is his 20th hit by pitch of the season.
Yeah, it looked like Hall just wore that right off the front quad. Didn't do much to get out of the way, but and sometimes you'll see the umpires make the batter stay at home plate if they feel like the batter didn't make much of an attempt to get out of the way, but that ball far enough into the right-handed batter's box. So umpire will let him take first base.
So this will be just a one-on-one conversation between head coach Ted White and Brody Pasica. The infield won't bother to come meet on the mound. Guys on first and second with 1 gone here in the 6th. I'll bring up Alex Golisano. Golisano was the only player that has not come to bat in this inning for EMU, and he will have his opportunity here. Coach White ends his meeting with Pasica as he heads back to the home dugout. So Pasico, we're looking for the signs from Campbell Charnecko. Alex Golisano has been held in check. 0 for 3 thus far. A lay off the first pitch, fastball for ball 1. Golisano really has a chance to completely blow this open for EMU. Still less than 2 outs with multiple guys on base. Fastball runs inside, and Golisano's up 2 balls and no strikes. Sika looking in. This one laced towards left center field. It will fall and make its way to the wall. 1 run scores. The second one being waved home. Golisano looking for a triple, and he'll get there safely. A 2-run triple for Alex Golisano. And it's 7 runs across in the inning for EMU.
That triple right there for Golisano, his first 3-bagger of the year, and actually only entered the day with 12 RBI. So gets 2 more right there on top of that, and we see head coach Ted White coming out to the bullpen, and looks like it'll be Jimmy Horvath for the Generals.
WNL will turn to its 4th different pitcher here in the 6th. The Royals have found a way to strike for 7 straight runs, all with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Jimmy Horvath will enter, and EMU is in front 8-0. Top of the 6th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. The new pitcher for the Generals is the junior right-hander, number 24, Jimmy Horvath. He'll look to do something that the previous 2 pitchers have not been able to do. That's been recorded out for the Generals after Benner exited both Sundell and Pasica, 2 of the Generals' top arms out of the pen. Gave up a combined 5 hits and 5 runs as EMU has scored 7 here in the top of the 6th. This one hit out to left field. That'll drop as well as Arnold adds to the hit parade for the Royals here in the 6th.
We mentioned earlier in the inning the Royals out of their first 4 hits, 3 of them not hit very hard, more of where they were hit rather than how hard. Last few hits have been not only well placed, but also hit hard into the outfield, and the Royals are rolling right now.
And hit by Arnold. He was the guy that started this inning, the only guy that's been retired here in the 6th. He flew out to start the inning, and since then, every guy has reached base safely. Spraker, who scored the first run of this inning after reaching on an error, is at the plate now as Horvath takes a look at Arnold off first base. But hits error for Spraker, hits by Miller, Harding, McGinnis, Wilkinson. A double by Mason. Hall got hit by a pitch. Golisano with the triple, and then Arnold with that most recent single. As things have gotten out of hand in a hurry. Held out of play that time by Spraker. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jimmy Horvath for the Generals. Seen just limited work throughout the season. It's his first appearance since March 24th when he pitched against Lynchburg. Hornets came back to win that game after Horvath walked in the winning run. It's just his 4th appearance of the campaign.
Not only that, no less than an inning and 2/3 in his previous 3 outings. So head coach Ted White looking to get a little bit of length out of Horvath here.
This one foul territory. Charnecko makes the catch in the on-deck circle for the 2nd out of the inning. It took till the 11th batter of the inning for the Generals to get the 2nd out. And now Miller, who began the hit parade here in the 6th, is up with a runner on first and 2 outs. Horvath will look over to first and throw. Horvath comes to the plate. This one charged out to left center. Turner called off by Satterfield for the final out. Not before EMU does their damage. 8 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, 1 man left. After all that, we head to the bottom of the 6th with EMU up 9-0 over Washington and Lee. After a long layoff, thanks to his team giving him 8 runs of support in the top half of the inning, Damon Tapscott takes back to the month for EMU here in the bottom of the 6th. Through his first 5 innings, he's only thrown 50 pitches, 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. But he was on the bench there for a good at least half hour. And he'll start Zach Senders off with the first pitch strike. It's Senders, Ramsor, and Jackson. 9-1-2 for the Generals here in the home half of the 6th. And Senders way out in front of that off-speed pitch.
as good as Tapscott and efficient as he's been. Some movement down in the EMU bullpen, more just literally just movement, but not something we expected to see with how good he's been so far today.
Sanders lays off that one out of the zone. And for the Royals, they play again tomorrow at home against Mary Baldwin and then have weekend conference doubleheader this weekend. So if you're able to get great length out of your starter here in a midweek conference game, that'll only set you up for perhaps better results as the week progresses. EMU has only played 13 conference games, as opposed to Washington Lee, who's played 16 entering the day. 3 straight balls make this a full count to Zach Senders. Charged over to Miller at second, picks it, fires to first. So Paul Ramsor will come to bat for just the 3rd time today. A pair of flyouts to his name. 1 gone in the bottom of the 6th, and his team trailing 9-0. Ramsor sees a first pitch strike. This breaking ball misses in from Tapscott. That inside corner to lefties, outside corner for righties has been an area where there's been some disagreements on calls today, and so Tapscott goes to the other side of the plate and paints the black. Is 1-2. Crushed out to right center. It's a long run. Galisano in the gap will make the catch. Galisano able to track that one down on the run. And Ramsor is retired via the fly out for the 3rd time.
Now batting, number 2, Jacob Jackson.
So Jacob Jackson now up for the Generals. And he'll take a first pitch strike. Mason Satterfield drew a 2-out walk in the bottom of the 5th for the Generals, was picked off. If you just erase that, the other 12 guys, since a single by John Turner in the 2nd inning, have been retired in order. So Tapscott has faced the minimum from the start of the 3rd inning on.
Yeah, the Generals have worked the count a little bit since then, but Tapscott's shown really good resiliency to fight back in the count and just make good pitches when he needs to.
He will recollect behind the mound here, up 1-2 on Jackson, a strike away from what would be his 4th straight inning of facing the minimum. This one fisted over to first base in foul territory. It's Wilkinson making the catch for the final out. 6 strong innings on the mound for Damon Tapscott. His team leads 9-0 as EMU comes to bat in the top of the 7th. After sending 12 men to the plate in the 6th inning, EMU comes back up to bat here in the top of the 7th. They'll start with the catcher Harding, McGinnis, and Wilkinson, 6 through 8 in the lineup against Jimmy Horvath. Horvath helped register the final 2 outs of that 6th inning in relief. He was the 4th different pitcher the Generals used in that half inning. This one shot out to right field. Ramsor gonna lay out and make the catch. Some defensive work from Paul Ramsor out in right field for the first out at the top of the 7th. So McGinnis into the box here to face Horvath. A roller to second base. Jackson charging, regrouping, and firing for out number 2.
I think there may have been a second there where Jacob Jackson thought he missed the ball. It looked like he stopped and looked behind him for a second.
I thought he might have overran that ball. But instead, fires to first for the second out of the inning. So Wilkinson steps in. His first 2 guys retired thanks to just a couple of pitches. It's Horvath's first pitch to Wilkinson and in the dirt. Wilkinson's having himself a fine day. 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Cuts right through that fastball and misses. Dances out of the way for what is ball 2. Two one, late on that pitch, and the count draws even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Horvath looking much more settled this inning with no runners on.
2-2. Hit out to center, Satterfield. Gonna collect that one for the final out. It's a 1-2-3, top half of the 7th. Time to get up and stretch in a 9-0 game here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Washington Lee will send Campbell Charnecko, Drew Larson, and Ethan Zuleta to bat here in the home half of the 7th against Damon Tapscott. He's 6 strong on just 64 pitches, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, and a strikeout. He was retired 13 of the last 14 in order, and the one guy that reached base was Satterfield with a walk in the 5th, and then he picked him off on first base before he threw another pitch to the plate. He's already ahead 0-2 on Campbell Charnecko. Tapscott, who went 7 innings against Washington and Lee when these teams met in Harrisonburg. Trying to do the same here as Charnecko able to just force this one out to center field for a base hit, just using his pure strength to deposit what is just the Generals' 3rd hit of the day.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. Tapscott entering the day right around a strikeout an inning, 26 strikeouts and 31 2/3. Only has one so far today. So his defense really doing a good job. We've seen a number of defensive plays that have been really good looking, and no errors for the Royals defense today.
Yeah, EMU, 9 runs thanks to 11 hits and no errors. Washington Lee has not scored. They've put together just 3 hits and have committed 5 errors. The pitch is in the zone to Larson for his strike. Royals keeping an eye on Charneco, the base runner. Just, he's not the biggest threat to steal. Washington Lee this season has been more apt to steal in general. 1-1 outside for a ball. Two one, just off the plate and away.
Charneco's 7 stolen bases for his career, 3 of them coming this year on 5 attempts, and down 9 runs. You wouldn't really expect him to be on the move. His lead, very conservative over at first base.
3-1 fastball, and Larson fights it off. Ethan Zuleta waits on deck for Washington Lee. General's only other hits came in the second inning when Larson led things off with a single. Zuleta hit into a fielder's choice, and then John Turner singled. The Manila had runners on first and third with less than 2 outs and did not score. Larson, a soft blooper into right center field, a long run, and it's going to get down. So it'll be a single for Drew Larson in the middle of no man's land.
Generals really needed that one, not only to get a second base runner out there and their 4th hit of the game, but just to see a ball like that that's been caught all game long, whether it's on the run or a routine fly ball, seeing one of those drop in, that can be a big momentum boost for the rest of the guys on the bench.
So Ethan Zuleta comes to bat, grounded out into a fielder's choice in the second, grounded out back to the pitcher in the 4th. He's off the first pitch for ball 1. And Zuleta, who had a hit in 19 straight games, trying to look to continue work here in the 7th after hits from Charneco and Larson. He'll fake a bunt, pull it back, and it'll find the zone.
I think that right there is more of just testing the composure of Tapscott. This is really the first inning that the Generals have put much pressure on him. First pitch ball, breaking ball that missed high, so Zuleta maybe trying to steal an extra ball in the count there.
1-1, pulled down to third base. On to second for 1. The return on the first for the double play. A 5-4-3 double play for the Royals. And now it's just Charneco on third with 2 outs for John Turner. Turner singled back in the second. Flew out to first base to start the 5th. So he's a first pitch in the zone for strike 1. This one popped into foul territory, heading towards the Generals' dugout. The catcher in Harding makes the catch for the final out. The good defense continues for the Royals. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 man left. We head to the 8th inning. EMU still in front, 9-0.
onto the game for the Generals in left field, number 11, Frankie Maloof.
Top of the 8th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. It is 9-1-2 due up for the Royals here against Jimmy Horvath. He's got the next 5 outs for Washington Lee after John Benner got the first 16. So Mason followed by Hall and Golisano. Mason had 2-run double and scored back in the Big 6. Will deposit a single into center field here to start the 8th. Bottom of the lineup has come through for EMU. As Wilkinson in the 8 holes gone 3 for 4. Now Mason 2 for 4. A couple of runs driven in.
Horvath being able to get out of the 7th inning, securing his 4th straight 4 for 4 outings, going at least 1 2/3 innings, and it'll be his ball.
So Hall swings at the first pitch and knocks it out of play. And although there is still some action down in the Washington Lee bullpen at this point, it's hard to think if one of those guys will enter or not. Perhaps maybe just trying to get some work in.
Yeah, Horvath entering the 6th in a tough spot. Did a good job of getting out, and then we saw with entering an inning in the 7th, 1-2-3 inning in the 7th. So leadoff guy gets on here, and I think head coach Ted White's just going to want to see if Jimmy can work himself in and out of trouble.
0-2 breaking bell is knocked out of play. Hall today has just found ways to get on base. Still has not gotten a hit, but a walk. Gone via fielder's choice, and also is Odak leading 20th hit by pitch his last time up. 0-2 misses outside for ball 1. Still not much real action down in the EMU bullpen. Damon Tapscott has thrown just 78 pitches through 7 strong. They have been strong innings, 4 hits and no runs.
Yeah, that's number 39, Carter Cashin, down there for the Royals. And at this point, I'm not sure why you'd take Tapscott out of the game.
Horvath looking in on 1 and 2. Mason, the runner at first. As Horvath faces Hall with nobody out in the top of the 8th. Hard hit ball to shortstop. Zuleta drops to a knee, turns to second, and Jackson will elect not to throw to first.
Yeah, that transfer needed to be perfect at second base, and wasn't quite perfect. Jacob Jackson reaching into his glove, not getting a firm grip on it, so just decided to eat it. So they'll take the 1 out.
Alex Golisano steps in. A 2-run triple. Part of that 8th-run 6th inning for EMU. That was basically almost the exclamation point of it all. Arnold brought him in with an RBI single, and the next batter and the next 2 guys got out to end the inning. What's the most impressive part about that is 8 runs by EMU. All of them came with 1 out in the inning. It was just guy after guy after guy finding ways to get on base. 9 straight guys got on base for the Royals for those 8 runs in the 6th. Around, says the home plate umpire. He won't even appeal down to first. He makes the call himself, as Golisano tried to prevent himself from following through.
Yeah, we just saw that pitch on our screen, a little delayed, and not quite sure what that was, whether it was a circle change or some kind of off-speed sinker, but that ball did a lot more running in on Golisano than he thought it would.
So Horvath up 1-2. He comes home, and this one's in the dirt. Horvath. Runner takes off. The high throw into second base and out, says the second base umpire. Little bit of a delayed call, but Hall is cut down by Charnecko.
Charnecko now 15 of 40, throwing out attempted base runners. That's a 37.5 success rate, which is a very, very good number for a catcher.
So full count to Golisano. Horvath's pitch upstairs for ball 4.
Now batting, number 6, Nick Arnold.
So although Hall was cut down stealing, Golisano reaches on the next pitch via the walk. This replaces the base runner at first base with 2 outs here in the 8th. Nick Arnold, the third baseman, steps in, and he sees a strike. Arnold 2 for 4 with a couple of runs batted in. One in the first, and then one in the 7th. I should say the 6th. Runner goes, Charnecko's throw down, safe. So after Hall was cut down, Golisano has a successful steal.
That one, Golisano's 8th stolen base of the year in 9 attempts.
Arnold fights off this pitch. So 1-2 the count to the Royals' third baseman.
Hall now 6 of 9 on stolen base attempts after his caught stealing, and up 9 runs. A little surprising to see 2 stolen base attempts back-to-back at bats.
1-2. Got him swinging for strike 3.
For the Royals in the top of the 8th, no runs on 1 hit.
No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Washington and Lee trailing 9-0. Bottom of the 8th inning as Damon Tapscott takes the mound for EMU. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and a strikeout. 78 pitches for him, and he has not thrown more than 14 pitches in an inning so far today. That came in both the 6th and 7th. So he's worked a little bit more the last 2 innings, but has still been able to be efficient and deliver on the mound.
Last time out against the Generals, Damon Tapscott also threw 7 innings. Generals did get to him for 10 hits, 4 earned runs. Tapscott struck out 6. So Tapscott gets through 7 again, but this time no runs on the board for the Generals.
And Keener looks at that breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. Keener, Satterfield, Senders, bottom 3 in the Generals lineup here in the home half of the 8th. Tapscott delivers another nice pitch this time on the outer half. Keener right back to Tapscott. He knocks it down, flips it to first for the out. The infield defense from EMU today has been superb.
Yeah, the defense all around. We've seen a couple of running plays, a diving play out of the center fielder Hall today, but the infield defense for Eastern Mennonite tonight has been phenomenal.
Just another example right there, and Tapscott fielding his own position. His first pitch to Mason Satterfield outside for a ball. So now the first year, and Tapscott has gone further into a game than he has ever before at the college level, and his two best starts have come against the Generals of Washington and Lee.
And that ball off the bat of Keener looked like it did have enough power behind it to get through the infield. So good job from Tapscott fielding his position. You wonder at this point how much longer the Eastern Mennonite coaching staff will let him go.
So Tapscott nearly slipped coming off the mound. And there'll be a ball against Tapscott getting they didn't deliver to the plate. It wasn't his full motion, just lost his footing. He'll try it again here at 2-1, and nearly got Satterfield up by the head. Outside of those singles last inning, Satterfield was the most recent base runner for the Generals in the 5th. And now he hits a single right back up the middle to reach in the 8th. Only 3 trips to the plate for Mason Satterfield today, but he's gotten on base in 2 of them, a walk and a single. And it's 1 out for Zach Senders with a runner on first.
That single from Satterfield forcing Cashin back to his feet and getting some throws in down in the EMU bullpen.
Pitch count raises to now 87. Satterfield with a hefty lead, but a strike to Senders. Zach Senders just a pair of groundouts to second and third base. This is just his 3rd time up in the bottom of the 8th. Throw back over to check on Satterfield, and he's in. Last time Satterfield was on first base, he was picked off.
And that was in that stretch where Tapscott retired a number of Generals in a row. That one a little closer at first base.
Almost got him leaning again.
Satterfield, the only General to reach in that stretch, and as you mentioned earlier, Ryan picked off on the before Tapscott could even deliver his next pitch.
Satterfield is all of about a step off the bag now, not going to take any chances as the 0-1 is golfed into foul territory. Tapscott will draw a set, 0-2. Runner on first, his delivery here to Senders. Check swing. And foul tip, says the home plate umpire. Senders frustrated with it. The home plate umpire says it was a foul tip, and since it was caught, it's a strikeout. Hard to see if there was really any contact. It certainly didn't sound like it, but even if it was a check swing and if he went around the appeal down the first, it very well could have been a strike as well. But instead, that's how Tapscott picks up the second out here of the 8th.
I think Senders there more so objecting to the fact that it was called a foul ball.
So Paul Ramsor stepping in. Just 3 flyouts, 2 to right, 1 to center. And Tapscott delivers a strike right there. Hit down the third baseline, tailing towards the EMU bullpen. A long run by the tarp, and nobody's going to get there. So 1-2 the count to Ramsor. Satterfield on first. Tapscott trying to get through 8 innings without giving up a run. Put together the best start of his college career here in year number 1 at the collegiate level. 1-2. Just missing the inside corner, running in. A 2-2 the count. Tapscott's delivery. Breaking ball on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Tapscott fired up as he gets through 8 strong. 8 shutout innings for Damon Tapscott. 5 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. 95 pitches for the first year as his team leads 9-0. We head to the 9th inning as EMU will come to bat, leading by 9. Top of the 9th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. EMU 9, Washington Lee nothing. Ryan Connell, Will Wallace with you on the Washington Lee Sports Network. New pitcher into the game is the senior captain right-hander from Glen Allen, Virginia, number 35, Ashwin Suresh. That closes the book on Jimmy Horvath, who got 8 big outs in relief, just gave up 2 hits, no runs, a walk, a strikeout through 34 pitches, and did his role in mop-up duty for the Generals. They brought in Sundell and Pasica after Benner to try and get some outs in the 6th. They could not get it done. Horvath put an end to the 8-run inning for EMU and did his job to have clean 7th and 8th innings and get us here to the 9th.
Yeah, great relief appearance from Jimmy Horvath. You really couldn't have asked for anything else out of him, especially with how the rest of the 6th inning was going. To get 2 2/3 out of him after the previous 2 hadn't gotten an out, that's going to help the bullpen a lot.
This ball hit hard out to left center field. A long run. Turner has it hit off his glove shy of the wall. So a long run. And that'll fall for a double for Spraker.
Yeah, one thing I don't think we mentioned in the last inning, Frankie Maloof now out in left field for the Generals. He was out there in the 8th inning.
First pitch swinging is Miller. Fouls it off.
And a tough play there for Maloof. Not only a long run, but you got the wall creeping up on you, and it's a tough play out there. So good effort to get to the ball, but you'd also like to see him squeeze that too.
Did well to at least get close enough to have just a potential play on the ball, but nonetheless couldn't complete the out. This one, a sandwich over to the right side of the infield, and Drew Larson able to catch it for the first out. Matthew Harding steps in. Harding singled and scored a run in the 6th inning. And I'll see a first pitch strike. Ashwin Suresh on the mound for the Generals. He's had a pretty solid senior campaign. Pitching to a 2.38 ERA in what is now appearance number 7. Just been about 12 innings for him. A soft looper. And Zuleta makes a catch on the outfield grass for the second out. And Suresh's high velocity and ability to challenge hitters has made him quite successful this season.
Yeah, he's having a career year this year as a senior, which you love to see. And last appeared against Bridgewater on March 26th, allowed a run in an inning. The appearance before that, no runs, scoreless inning against Southern Virginia a week before.
Hefty hack that time by McGinnis. Chasing the high heat of Suresh out of the zone. Owan is knocked foul and out of play. So McGinnis trying to keep what has been an all right day for him. Still 1 for 4. Hit and a run. It's been the two guys behind him, Wilkinson and Mason, in the 8 and 9 hole. They've really carried the bottom half of the order for EMU. They've combined for 5 hits and 8 trips to the plate. 1-2. Off the plate away. So Suresh trying to put an end to a leadoff double from Spraker and send this to the bottom of the 9th. 2-2. Fought off by McGinnis.
Getting a little bit of rain coming down here now, Ryan. Some fans breaking out the umbrellas.
Just a few sprinkles, some sunshine in the distance, though, so can't be all that much. As Suresh lays off, or Suresh finds that one in the dirt as McGinnis lays off. The count runs full to the Royals' designated hitter. And he will not chase ball 4.
Now batting, number 7, Eric Wilkinson.
So Eric Wilkinson, who singled in his first 3 trips to the plate, looking for a 4-hit day, flew out to center field back in the 7th. Fastball upstairs for ball 1. One-0 chasing that is Wilkinson, and he's unable to catch up to it. On 1 knocked out of play and foul. On into the count to Wilkinson. The pitch from Suresh. Laced down the left field line, but not in the field of play. So after today, EMU goes back to Harrisonburg for a game against the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin tomorrow at Royals Field, and then they make the trip back down south to Greensboro to play Guilford for a doubleheader on Saturday. 1-2 comes in, bounces, gets away from Charneco, a long turn. He'll stop there. Wilkinson had that one bounce before, almost deflecting off his foot. For Washington and Lee, this is their final game They will not play again until the 20th of April, which will be the final 2 home games of the season. Senior Day for the class of 2024 against the Panthers of Ferrum College right here at Captain Dick Smith Field. The doubleheader starting at noon on Saturday the 20th. 2-2 misses high for ball 3. And after that, Washington Lee goes to Bridgewater on that following Tuesday, to CNU on that Thursday, and rounds out regular season with doubleheader and Virginia Beach against the Marlins that Saturday. This one laced into the gap. Ramsor with the basket catch in the gap to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on. We head to the home half of the 9th. EMU trying to close things out, up 9-0 as Damon Tapscott comes out for the 9th inning here to start. We'll see if he can finish off the complete game when we return. Bottom of the 9th inning here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Damon Tapscott, the first-year right-hander from Warrenton, Virginia, looking to finish off a complete game shutout for EMU. He's through 8 scoreless innings, 5 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. He's faced just 28 batters and gotten 24 outs thus far. Jacob Jackson ropes one into left field to start the bottom of the 9th as he will take the wide turn on first and stop there. Still just a little light action in the EMU bullpen as someone just still loosening up. You have to think the leash is at least a little bit longer here for Tapscott, just trying to finish off a complete game. The middle of the Generals lineup with Charneco at the plate, Larson to follow. Some really experienced hitters due up. Charneco over to third. Arnold to second for 1. The relay in time. A 5-4-3 double play. As that is the second double play that the Royals have turned in the last 3 innings. And that puts the Generals down to their final out here in the 9th. First pitch to Larson. Outside for ball 1. Ethan Zuleta would be next if Larson could keep this inning alive. He takes a strike. One misses low for ball 2. This will be the 100th pitch of the day for Tapscott. It's 2-1. It's off the catcher's glove into the backstop. A 3-1 the count to Larson. Larson sawed off, foul, and out of play down the left field line. A lot of words of encouragement coming from the Royals dugout, trying to will their first-year right-hander to a complete game shutout. A 3-2. Rolled foul. Larson steps back in with a full count and 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Tapscott's pitch. Knocked into right field. Larson will pick up his 3rd hit of the day. But it's been not the best day at the plate for the Generals. Just their 7th hit. 3 of them now from Drew Larson. And that'll bring Ethan Zuleta up for one final at-bat here. 0 for 3. Rounded it into a double play his last time up. Has a chance at least try and keep that hitting streak alive, being 19 straight games. As Zuleta reached base with a hit. We'll have an opportunity here with 2 gone in the bottom of the 9th to try and stretch it to 20 straight games. Tapscott 103 pitches. He surrendered 7 hits through 8 2/3. We'll face Zuleta, who's gotten out all 3 times. A layoff, and this pitch rolls away, but not too far from Harding as Larson stays parked on first. Zuleta lays off, and this misses low. So some good action to that breaking ball from Tapscott, just a tad low for Zuleta's liking. Two 2-0 comes in, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Rio right down the heart of the plate for a strike. Zuleta taken pretty much the whole way. A 3-1. Outside corner, first strike 2. The Generals once again down to their final strike. 3-2, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Zuleta lays off for ball 4. So it won't be a hit for Zuleta, but he at least gets on with a walk. And we'll have a mound visit here by the Royals as Tapscott is 109 pitches in after those 6 pitches he threw to Zuleta. And with a pair of base runners on board, it's still a 9-0 game as Frankie Maloof will come to bat for the first time today for Washington and Lee. But the Royals right-hander looking just for that final out. Perhaps it's one thing to get a complete game, it's another thing to get a complete game shutout. And he will stay in the game for the time being. As the mound visit ends, get some glove taps from the infield and gets ready to face Frankie Maloof. Well, Wallace been grinding the research over at emuroyals.com.
Finding some notes here, Ryan. We'll see. Won't mention anything yet. Don't want to have any announcers jinxes up here, but if Tapscott can finish this off, this will be...
Maloof shoots this to right field. Larson's going to get the stop sign at third base, and that was a strong throw from Golisano in right. So the bases are loaded, and Jaden Keener comes to bat.
I'll switch gears here to the W&L side. of history. It certainly looks like Ethan Zuleta will unfortunately not get another plate appearance. If that's the case, his 19-game hitting streak, which it looks like will come to an end today, longer than Keegan Dolan's 17-game streak in 2014, and the last time a WNL player got to 20 games on a hitting streak was done back in 2013 by Drew Wiprinski and Jonathan Stutz. Jonathan Stutz had 24 games in 2013, not only to end the season, but to end his career. Drew Wiprinski ended the season on a 28-game hitting streak, went on to get a hit in the next 3 games his following season, so a 31-game hitting streak overall there for Wiprinski. So 19-game hitting streak. Looks like it's coming to an end for Ethan Zuleta, but something definitely to be proud of and something not often seen here in Lexington.
2-1 the count to Keener. That's on the knees at the outside corner for strike 2. Once again, the cheers from the Royals dugout grow stronger as Tapscott has the Generals down to their final strike. The 2-2. Low in the dirt for ball 3. Tapscott will step off. Try and get a reset on a new pitch. A full count, 2 outs, bases loaded, bottom of the 9th. Trying to finish off a complete game. A chopper over his head. A charging shortstop throw on to first in time. A complete game shutout for Damon Tapscott and EMU as they win it 9-0 over Washington and Lee. 9 shutout innings, 8 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 116 pitches as he finishes off a complete game for the Royals, who get to 9-16 and 6-8 in conference play with what is a historic performance for the first-year right-hander.
Yeah, Ryan, this being my first broadcast of the year, I'm sure we don't normally do players of the game, but if we had to pick one, it's obviously Damon Tapscott. First 9-inning complete game for the Royals since the 2021 season when John Judy and Gage Riddick both threw 9-inning complete games. And even more impressive, the Royals have not had a 9-inning complete game shutout since at least 2001.
That's as far back as you can find.
That's as far back as the EMU Royals XML stats go back, and that's further than most other websites go, and something not often achieved, and something that's very impressive for a first year, making only a handful of starts in his collegiate career. 9-inning complete game shutout, first one in at least 24 years for the EMU baseball program.
So he pitches at least 7 innings against Washington and Lee in each start. He picks up 2 wins against the Generals as EMU also sweeps Washington and Lee for the first time since 2019. They get it done. A 9-0 win over the Generals. The whole turning point of today's game came in the top of the 6th. EMU scored 8 runs with 1 out in the top of the 6th. The Generals were forced to use 4 different pitchers to get those 3 outs in the 6th inning as EMU put 13 hits and 9 runs across as they win at 9-0.
Yeah, not much else you can say. I mean, the 8-run inning in the 6th, obviously huge for the Royals, and they just were able to keep stringing together hits. Leadoff batter gets out, next batter reaches on an error, and that was all they needed to see. Next, you have the scorecard there. Next, however many hitters got on base, and 8 runs. It was a good job by the WNL bullpen after that to shut the door and ensure no further damage. But that 8-run 6, just too much for the Generals tonight.
Yeah, after an error with 1 out in the 6th innings, Ethan Spraker got on with an error. He later came around to score. The next 8 guys after him also reached base safely. So 9 straight batters came to the plate without being retired in the 6th inning. 8 of them scored, and EMU wins it 9-0. It'll be a 10-day layoff now for the Generals, who won't play again until April 20th when they resume against Ferrum College in the final 2 home games here at Captain Dick Smith Field this season. EMU, quick turnaround. They got a 4 o'clock first pitch against Mary Baldwin tomorrow, and then a trip to Guilford and Greensboro on Saturday for a doubleheader against the Quakers. That'll do it for us here at Captain Dick Smith Field. Our final score today, EMU 9, WNL nothing. The Royals get 13 hits to generate 9 runs and no errors for Washington Lee. They get shut out, 8 hits and 5 errors. Winning pitcher Damon Tapscott, the first-year right-hander with a complete game shutout, the first complete game shutout for EMU, at least since the turn of the year 2001. 8 hits for him, no runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 116 pitches, and a complete game shutout. John Benner gets the loss, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Washington Lee off for a week and a half. They'll play on Senior Day here on Saturday, April 20th, a 12 o'clock start to the doubleheader against the Panthers of Ferrum College. It's a quick turnaround for EMU. They got Mary Baldwin tomorrow, an ODAC doubleheader against Guilford on Saturday. As for my broadcast partner, Will Wallace, I'm Ryan Collin. For all of us here at the Washington Lee Sports Network, we say thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night.